Here we are with Ms. Crystal Gunn, and we just heard her incredible speech given at the Wellness Summit. And it was so powerful. I had to come back to you, Crystal. So you had that beautiful introduction in the summit. So I'm not going to turn around and reintroduce you.
Right.
But what I would love to say is that when we talk about doing things together, there was something, or there usually is a precipice in life that happens that makes you realize that this is the message. What
Mhm.
was that for you?
That's that's an interesting question because prior to the summit, I had no idea. I had no idea what I was going to talk about. And I kept saying to Spirit, okay, you got to lead me on this. And I started writing some things, trying to force some things, which we should never do. And like the day before, it just came that we are better together. And I think the reason that it came that way was because of everything that I'm going through right now. Building these building these businesses and trying to impact communities, I can't do it alone, right? And so spirit, God, the universe, whichever term you want to use, keeps sending me these incredible individuals, right? That fill the gaps that I don't have, that have the reach that I may not have. And the connections are easy, they're impactful, and they're powerful. And I'm like, yeah, we are definitely better together. And I believe we can absolutely change the world, as I said in that speech, but we can't do it alone. And I think as we go about doing these things together and then we start to connect all of those pieces, we just have major impact. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, that is a powerful message too, in and of itself, because what happens is that we get something, we get a task, we get the thing that we need to do, and we're like, okay, we're determined, we're going to do this, right?
Right.
And no matter how it hurts us, how it hurts other people, we're just like, I'm on a mission. It has to get done. It has to get done. And it's like sometimes we talk about it banging our heads against the wall and not going anywhere, right? Or, I tried this way, I tried that way, every way that I tried it, it just isn't working, and I keep failing, or I keep falling, or whatever the case
Hmm.
may be. And at least for me, what I realize is that I have to surround myself with like-minded people. I have
Absolutely.
to heed the signs of when I'm not supposed to go a certain direction, and we always try to force directions, you
And
know?
it never works. It
And it
never works.
never works. It never works. So I always have this philosophy saying there's no such thing as no, but there's a such thing as not that way.
Right.
Okay. And
Right.
sometimes you can't go through the target. Sometimes you got to go around it. You got to go under it. You got to go over it. You got to zigzag to it, but you can't go through it. So surrounding myself with like-minded people,
Hmm.
understanding what it is I'm trying to reach, and then, that powerful message of doing it together. When you have a team and you're all on the same page and you find that cohesiveness and working together, there's a divine flow that just
Yep.
everything falls into place, isn't there?
Everything will fall into place. And you have to be willing to remove people from your team
Mm.
because some people, you may want them to be part of the team. They may really and truly want to be part of the team, but they're not a fit for the team. And we have to be willing to say, you know what? This team, this one isn't for you right now. The next one, maybe when we're doing the next thing, but when you recognize that that person or those individuals are disrupting that flow, or as Abraham Hicks says, when you're operating in that vortex, when everything is going the way it's supposed to go, you have to remove those barriers because you're going to keep hitting a brick wall because something, and again, that non like-minded person is they're not in the flow, and you got to be willing. And we like to keep people, we like to keep people close because I don't want to hurt your feelings, or because we're really, we've been doing this, which is, I don't know, I think it's one of the worst sayings. We've always worked together, or we've always done it this way.
Yeah, that's one of the worst things I've ever heard. We've always done it this way, and no matter how wrong it is or how sideways it goes, we're going to do it again this way, and we're
This
going to
way.
get the same results this way. There you go. Was it
Yeah.
Einstein that said that if you expect change every single way the same time, by
Yeah.
making the same decisions, you're crazy. And I
Insane.
know that's not
Yeah.
how he said it, but
But
yeah.
yeah, it's doing the same thing, expecting something different. It's like you can't, it's not gonna work.
It's not
Right.
going to work. So, you know what? We're talking about leadership. I'm a big advocate for authentic leadership too. And I think that what you pointed out is really important. And I think that we should talk about ways that when we have adverse situations where we have to remove somebody or we have to have that hard conversation, this is how you do it. First of all, identifying the signs. All right. Most people don't even want to acknowledge the signs that are right there in their face, on the walls,
Knocking them in,
everywhere
right.
else, right? Knocking them in the head, going, hello, they're not supposed to be there. But
Yeah.
you talked about disrupting the flow, right? Now we understand that every once in a while there's when you're on a team dynamics, there's always somebody that raises their hand that is the pessimist or the one that says, well, what if this and what if that and what if this is wrong? And I'm okay with people saying what if
Hmm.
sometimes, right? But my philosophy, at least coming up and having to work on teams, is that you don't ask a question without also having the solution, right?
Thank you.
So if I'm going to go, what if this happens, my suggestion would be we just
Hmm.
have a mitigating circumstance such that this is how we would mitigate the problem. But I don't believe in somebody just throwing problems constantly after another, just to throw a wrench in the game. But to
Exactly.
me, that's a sign. So,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I absolutely agree. And I always say, don't put anything else on my plate and don't then assign a problem to me. Come with a solution, because if you're
Mhm,
not coming with a solution, you are not helpful. And we have a lot of people, people do it. And sometimes people don't even realize that they're doing it,
mhm,
right? They don't even realize that they're doing it. And sometimes when we're looking at those people that don't fit this team, right? Doesn't mean they don't fit another one, but they don't fit this team. Sometimes when you go to them and have that conversation, they're relieved because they know that they didn't fit that team. They know that they needed to not be a part of that, but they, for whatever reason, couldn't bow out themselves.
mhm.
And so when you come to them, they're almost like, oh my God, thank you. Like, it's this relief. So yeah, come with it. If it's a problem that you're pointing out, please come with a solution and an idea. And one of my pet peeves is, oh, you should do what? Like, don't tell me what I should do. Like, what are we going to do together, and what are you going to contribute to that doing? Now, I am a person that's going to sit at that table though, and I'm asking a lot of questions, but
Okay.
I'm asking questions to make you think,
Okay.
right? To push you to another level.
Level.
And like, even with people will call me about a certain business that they have, and I don't know anything about that business particularly, like, okay, you make widgets. I don't know what a widget is and what a widget does. However, I can ask you questions to make you think next level, that then you're going to say, oh my God, wait. Right. And it's a gift. And I'm like, I don't even know what widgets are, but I feel like I'm being led to ask you these questions. And so when you have those people that can ask you questions that's making you think deeper and harder to get to the next level, those type of people are valuable, and they're very different than the type of individual that's bringing the problem with no
Yes.
solution. Yeah.
I totally, totally agree. The other thing I would love to bring out too that you get on in team dynamics is that people love to place blame on other people. Okay. And it's like, oh, you better watch out because so and so is doing this, and this, and they're going to, mess everything
Hmm.
up. And I've had
Hmm.
those scenarios also where it's like, okay, not only are you watching your stuff, but you're watching somebody else's with an eye so clear that you can know when they're about to fail. So what I do is I tie those two people together. And I
Hmm.
say, okay,
Hmm.
your success is his success is your success. Okay.
Hmm.
So you both need to figure it out how you're going to work together, and you both need to rise to the occasion together.
Hmm.
Because if
Hmm.
one makes it and the other one doesn't, as far as I'm concerned, you both failed.
You both failed. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
That's that's that different type of disruption, right? And I'm saying what you did is the different type of disruption that we need, right? I'm gonna solve this problem by making you all work together. And together we rise, right? Together we are
We
better. And
rise.
so, yeah, I think that's an awesome, but that's true leadership and insight,
Hmm.
right? That's true leadership and insight, being able to see it and then say, here's how we're going to solve that, instead of just removing that person from the team.
Yeah, because you know what? A lot of us have this idea that it's a divide and conquer, right? So it's
Right.
like, well, you know what? I'm going to rise to the occasion. I'm going to make him look bad, or I'm going to rise to the occasion. I'm going to make her look bad. But no, 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 no. What I've learned in true leadership that I don't always have to be in the forefront to look good.
Exactly.
And I'm going
Right.
to say that again for our studio audience too. I don't always have to be in the forefront to look good. Your success as the leader of our team and looking good is my success.
Hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
My teammates being able to rise to the occasion and bring up a part that was really, really key in the
Hmm.
dynamics of what we're trying to deliver, and mine not being as important, I still look good and I still contributed to that team. And we all rose to the occasion in helping
Absolutely.
one another. And we've lost that. The first thing that we see is, oh, my work was stolen, or my this was stolen, or that was stolen. I deserve that credibility. I got to be in the front. I got to be on that stage. I got to
Hmm.
be on the stage.
But did we lose it, or were we programmed to be that way, right?
Exactly. Got it. Got it. Exactly.
Because when you talked about that corporate America thing and like, I got to come in, I got to lead, I got to show up, so we were programmed to be that way. So it's a thing that we have to unlearn. And let's be real, unlearning some things are uncomfortable.
Right. And you know what? Our audience doesn't know what we're exactly talking about. So we're gonna break down what we're talking about. There was a point that I had said, and I believe it was during the speaking engagement, or it could have been somewhere else. I don't remember.
Hmm. Hmm.
Anyway, I had talked about the fact that we have been programmed to always want to be on stage, right?
Yes.
That if we're not on stage, we failed, right?
Hmm.
That if
Hmm.
if I'm not in front of everybody and what I say goes and nobody can question it and nobody can speak back at me, then there's a problem.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And that is the only way to be successful. And I countered that with sitting in circle.
Hmm.
Because when you're sitting in circle, no one's above you, no one's below you, no one's in front of you, no one's behind you. That we all mutually respect one another in the circle. We all have the opportunity to speak. We all can look at the exact same thing, speak from our different points of view, and it doesn't make it right, it doesn't make it wrong, it just makes it different.
Hmm.
And that we can mutually respect each other's differences and
Hmm.
opinions and still accomplish a high level of achievement without it being dictated to us from the center stage that we've been programmed to think is the only way that the directions can come from.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's just the fill in.
Yeah. And you see it every single, I mean, it's ingrained in everything that we do. And I almost believe, I think we can probably look back through school that that's how we're taught and ingrained. And then you go into, oh, I want to strive to be in management, but what does that really mean? That what does that leadership look like? And in corporate America, it looks like I'm standing on this stage,
Mm-hmm.
everything that you just said. And I don't think there's enough value placed on, okay, I'm going to say it this way so that people get it, right? You have the person in charge. Well, that person in charge usually has a number two person. That
Mm-hmm.
number two person is invaluable because that number two person doing what the number two person does allows for the number one to be what that person is. And you can't have that number one without that number two. And I don't think that this world and the society that we live in gives enough credit to the number two
You-
or the team that allows this thing to happen. And I think when we start giving that credit and that gratitude, again, a rising tide lifts all boats. We can't do this thing with just one individual. We need this team. And we just really don't give enough credit to that team.
I love what you just said. A rising tide lifts all the boats.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It does. And that number two person, you know what? There is no number one without the number two. So again, it
Right.
goes right back down to your speech. We cannot do this alone. Everything happens as a group, as a team with the huge successes that we have. We do not do it alone. We don't deliver our work alone because 9 out of 10, you got somebody in background helping you, you got somebody
Right.
researching for you, or somebody showing you how to do
Mm-hmm.
this to accomplish this so that it can get accomplished. But no,
Exactly.
we don't do it alone.
And
So,
it's not only those though, it's not only the work thing, it's not only impacting a community, it's impacting your own personal life. You don't do that alone either. So
mm-mm.
you need you need that team too. You need to, who are you spending your time with and how are they impacting your life negatively or positively? And how are you impacting theirs? So I think it's always a constant assessment, or as I like to say, taking inventory of who's around you and who's contributing to what you're doing and where you're going, and in return, how you're contributing to them as well.
I'm sitting here thinking about the fact that I've met quite a few women who are alone. They
Hmm.
are alone. They're probably sitting back, they dwell on social media a little bit, but they don't have a community. They don't have that friend. They don't have, and it's not for lack of trying, you know,
Right.
but they just don't have. What would you say to those people? What would you say to the ones who are seeking but not finding, but want to seek, have the best of intentions to seek, or have been just going about it the wrong way?
So first, I believe they have to go within, right? I
Yes.
truly, I truly believe you have to go within because there is a lot of self-discovery that we need to do. And when we start to do that and clear out some things, and I am by no means saying that it's that person's fault that they don't have that or that they are alone. But when you go in and you do the self-discovery and you go within and figure out, okay, where do I need to heal? What do I need to do? How do I need to operate? And how do I vibrate higher? Right. And what you're looking for. If you don't even know what you need, how do you find what you're looking for? And I think when you start to identify those things, your tribe shows up.
I love that. I love that. And a lot of people would sit back and say, "Okay, but I've done that already." But I want to comment on the fact that when people go, "I've done that already," the work is not done. You're saying I've done that already, but you know what? The work is not done. There's more work to be done. It's like
Mhm.
peeling an onion layer after layer. You have to go deep. And what
You
does
do.
going deep mean? It means facing those vulnerabilities. One of the things that I love to start women off with, or people, it doesn't have to be just women,
Hmm.
but I love starting
Hmm.
women off with this is when I look in the mirror and I see who I see, how do I lie to myself?
Oh God.
Mhm. Right? And am I lying to myself right now? And
Hmm.
see, the whole thing is that, you could tell me the story, if we're in a coaching relationship or if we're in this relationship and that, you could tell me any story you want,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
I can't help you. That's a personal choice. But what you
Hmm.
can't do is that you can't lie to yourself about lying to yourself.
Right.
you know?
Right. You can't.
You
That's
can't.
impossible.
You just
At
can't,
some
you know?
point, you have to start to tell the truth to you.
Exactly. To
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
because you're like, I got this, I got this. No, look in the mirror and be honest. I don't have this. I'm falling apart. Something's wrong. And do I need to get help to guide me through this? And am I willing to face the fact that I don't have it together? And
Yeah,
that for some reason
but
I'm
I can't say. I can't say I don't have it together. I can't say that I'm not a strong Black woman. I can't say that because I've been taught and programmed that if I say I don't have it together, then I'm weak and I'm less than. And I don't want to fit in that mold.
And so that's why we're sitting here talking about this, to
Right.
change that paradigm structure. You are not inhuman. You are
Right.
human.
Yeah.
And the human
Hmm.
condition has weaknesses. If we were made in
Hmm.
perfection, we would be perfect beings and we would all be wealthy and we would all be living the life, because who the heck would want to live any other way, right?
Exactly. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So to be able to say, not only do I not have it together and I need help to get it together, and that it's okay to ask for help to get it together, is huge.
It's
It's
huge.
huge.
And it's hard for a lot of people. It's hard to be in a place of vulnerability to say, you know what? I don't have it all together. I need some help. Can you help me?
Hmm.
It's hard for a lot of people.
It's hard, but you
The
know what?
process,
Yes. Yes.
like you said, peeling, it's like peeling back the layers of the onion, right? It is hard. And it's okay if you can't do it today, right? It's okay if you can't do it today, but to recognize that you have to do it and start walking down the path, step by step to be able to do it. It's the movement you got to keep doing, the movement, or peeling back the layers in order to get there.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. And then what I would say to those who might be listening to, you have to work, and you don't do this alone, but you have to work at turning your vulnerabilities into your strengths.
Absolutely.
Because when you really, really focus on, okay, here's where I'm vulnerable, here's where I'm insecure, here's where I'm this, here's where I'm that. When someone tries to hurt you based on that vulnerability, you will have such agency within you.
Hmm.
You step
Hmm.
back and say, and your point is, and what do you mean by that? Yeah, I know
Hmm.
that I get angry, or yeah, I know that when
Hmm.
this particular circumstance takes place, I may get insecure. And what's your point about that? I'm aware of
Right.
that, you know?
Hmm.
Because really, when people use those types of things, they're trying to trigger you. They're trying to
Absolutely.
get you to feel small or
Yep.
be small if you allow them to. But don't, ladies, don't give away your power.
And
Don't.
the moment that you say that you do exactly what you just said, you've taken your power back from that person because when they
Yes.
were trying to trigger you, they held the power. And now you say that, well, oh, yes, that is exactly how I am. And I know that. Well, then they don't have anything else.
Exactly. And when you turn around and you say, and I know that, so what's your point?
Yeah, they have nothing.
They have nothing. You know? Are you saying that because you're trying to get me upset? Because, hon, I've been aware of that about myself for quite some time. So
Hmm.
that doesn't deter us from the fact that you haven't.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we forget how powerful we are. And I always go back and say that you're not learning how powerful you are. You're remembering how powerful you are
Yes.
because you've been powerful this whole time. And it's like stand in that and know that. But society and everything around it breaks you down. And that's where that tribe comes in. That's where that community comes in that you need in order to. mm, in order to I, I think we particularly are communal people, so we don't do well sitting in a room by ourselves anyway. Right. We're,
We absolutely don't do well sitting by ourselves. And I'm going to go back to no human sitting by themselves can do
is
well.
good. Correct.
Because they've already done studies on this. From the moment that we're born, we need touch. We need
Oh
love.
my God,
We
yes.
need engagement. So if a child needs that, what makes you think an adult doesn't need that? We
Right.
all need that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this pandemic did a great disservice to us because people were alone. They were alone. And sometimes they were alone in households where they weren't the only person,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But they were still alone. And so coming back out of that and figuring out, okay, how do I go back in this world and get those very things that we need from other people? A lot of people are still lost in that and haven't been able to figure that out.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I'm going to shift gears on you just a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm going to say to you, as the CEO of the Amazing Woman Network, yes. Tell us where and who can engage in the Amazing Woman Network. Talk to us about it. Just talk to us
Yeah.
about it.
And so anyone. And so years ago, I always say God gives you these previews, these, these snippets of what it is that you're supposed to do. Doesn't always mean you're supposed to do it then, but he gives you these snippets. And years ago, God gave me this snippet. Okay, you're supposed to empower and unite Black women globally. And I was like, are you crazy? Like, my life is a mess right now. What are you talking about? Right. But it wasn't that I was necessarily supposed to do it in that moment, but it was, I'm giving you a snippet of what you're supposed to do because this is what women need. And when I look back over it, I still had a journey that I had to go through. And so when I look back on that journey, it was like God was giving me the snippet in the beginning, one, to say, okay, what our pillars are, reclaiming our personal power, mind, body, and spirit, reclaiming our financial power, and increasing our social involvement. But part of the reason, and I learned this later, was I created the Amazing Woman Network because of what I needed. I needed this tribe. And I said, well, wow, if I need this, there must be other people that need it too. And so it was first a thing for me. It wasn't like, we'll just go out here and unite and uplift and empower these women. I was in a place because of what had happened in my life that I needed to be uplifted, empowered, and united with some other women in those areas. And those are what became our pillars. So yes, anyone. And I'm shifting some things for 2023 as to how we're going to do some things. But yeah, you can go to the amazingwomannetwork.com and like subscribe, and you'll start to get some information as we roll out what we're going to do in 2023. But it's all about helping and walking with each woman as she goes about her life to own, honor, and execute her amazing. And like our signature, we have retail, and our signature t-shirt says amazing woman established at birth, because we forget that. Right. And
Yes.
so the titles that you have, the amount of money that you have, and all of this influence, that doesn't, those are things. It doesn't really define who you are, because you can still have all of those titles and just really be a horrible person. But so often we look to attain these things because that's when we think that are amazing. But in reality, we were born amazing. We were amazing. And so we have to go back through that process of remembering exactly who we are. And in that process of remembering who we have to release the things that no longer serve us. We have to
And I
stop holding on to
love
those.
what you said, and I hope that people really glean how powerful what you said, how powerful that is. Because what you do and what you acquire does not define who you are. That some of the most powerful people out here are horrible people inside.
And
So
unhappy.
exactly, they're unhappy,
Yeah.
or that unhappiness brings out the meanness in them. That unhappiness brings out certain characteristics in them that just it isn't who they are.
Mhm.
And then, whenever people ask me, who am I versus what do I do? Those are two different questions. And
True.
ladies, please start acknowledging that
Mhm.
what you do isn't who you are. You
Mhm.
know, I mean, we are these amazing vibratory beings that I'm sitting here talking to one called Crystal. My name is Zenolia, but we are these energies. We hold our light, we hold
Mhm.
our amazing, and we let that shine through what we do.
True. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so the amazing being Crystal shines through the financial strategist that she is, the
Right.
amazing woman network CEO that she is,
Mhm.
and everything
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
she does, that amazing Crystal shines through it. But
Yeah.
that does not define who Crystal Gunn is.
It does not. And it's so funny that you say that because there's a really good friend of mine who says all the time that I go about sprinkling my crystals all over the place. And so when you say that's what shines through in the things that I do, but it's not who you're absolutely right. But we wear so many hats, or as my co-host on the podcast, Michelle, says, because we're talking about women, we wear so many shoes that we really forget who we are.
And I love that that analogy went to shoes, because one of the things that I always say is when you take off the shoes and you're walking barefoot, you're conscious of every step that you take,
Oh my.
because you don't want your foot to get hurt. You don't want, you don't want to get cut, blah, 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 blah. But if you think about that, if you take off your shoes in life and you think
Mm-hmm.
about everything you say before you say it, every decision before you make it, every, event
Mm-hmm.
before you do it, then you have an amazing life because you're conscious about
Yeah.
everything that you're doing. And we
Yeah.
walk around so unconscious all the time.
Yeah. And I think when we start to become deliberate and conscious, when you start to act deliberately, that's when the needle starts to move in whatever area of life that you want it to move. And then it winds up impacting every area of your life. But you have to go in and be deliberate and conscious of those things that you do, as opposed to just walking around letting life happen to
Do
you,
you? Yes.
but saying, you know what, I do have some control over this. Let me go out and do deliberately and intentionally, and you will see an amazing impact. And part of that, when you start operating in that way, it goes back to the very beginning of our conversation. Your tribe comes. You're no longer alone, because you're sending out this vibration that's bringing to you the very people that you need. I
And
mean,
the
it really
very
is
people
simple,
that are like you too, because like
because they're
attracts
looking for
like.
you.
They're
They're
looking for
also,
you. Like
yeah.
attracts like. Yes, absolutely.
They are definitely, and when you meet up with them, much like me having these conversations with you, it's like, okay, I feel like I've known her forever,
Uh-huh.
because it's it is the like, it's the like attracting like, and it's the same vibrational frequency. And I mean, it works. And but getting to know and going back to who you are and owning your own amazing, and knowing that that looks different for everyone. But when you start to do it, you can't you can't go back the other way. It's almost impossible. So yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I love this. I love this conversation. You know what? I'm not going to give them too much. If you want to know more about Crystal Gunn and her Amazing Woman Network, please, please, please check out her website.
AmazingWomanNetwork.com. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram. You can also go to crystalgun.com, and you can find just information about me as the financial strategist. So there's a ton of ways that you can connect with me and with this movement of owning our amazing.
And I want to own my amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for taking the time out to speak with me, to
Oh,
share with
absolutely.
me. And I'm going to save your speech because I think that that'll be my mantra. That will be my
We are
mantra.
we
And
are better together. We
yeah,
absolutely
we are
are.
better together. And my name's Enolia. And if you want to know more about me, you can check out www.enolia.live. And I am an elder, I am a coach, I am a women's empowerment
Yeah.
educator.
Mhm.
So here I am. We are here. You're amazing women.
Because you
Trying
are
to
amazing.
attract more amazing women.
You are definitely amazing, and I appreciate you and
Oh,
all that you do for women all over this world. It's absolutely incredible, and I am honored to know you.
I'm honored to know you because you are doing some amazing, amazing work where you are, and I'm telling you to the studio audience, check out her website because 2023 is going to
Oh,
be
it's coming. It's
amazing. It is going to, and I'm going to be there. I'm going to be the first one at your doorstep, Crystal.
right.
I'm telling you that now. I'll be there. So
It's gonna be
I'm
awesome. I
excited.
can't wait. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you again for this
Thank you.
conversation, and we're going to have you back soon.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.